last night on my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you need to go to my YouTube channel now. Subscribe to my YouTube channel now. That's Tariq Radio. That is my YouTube channel, Tariq Radio. A lot of good information on the Tariq Radio channel. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Still trying to record here. Hold on. There we go. All right. So today's topic, family, we're talking about the new king of pop. We're talking about racism in the music industry. And I'm talking about this because the term new king of pop is trending right now. Rolling Stone magazine, they did a cover story with white performer Harry Styles talking about he's the new king of pop. Now, Rolling Stone, they've done stuff like this before. They used to do that with Justin Timberlake. If y'all remember, there's a cover story back in the day of Justin Timberlake. They were trying to call him the new king of pop. They got this thing in the industry about trying to erase black accomplishments. What they're trying to do is erase Michael Jackson's accomplishments. You know, this is what that whole documentary stuff was about, where they were trying to demonize Michael Jackson. They were trying to replace his accomplishments with these fake white entertainers, giving them fake credentials. They've been doing this stuff. The sad thing is a lot of black people within the industry are afraid to call this stuff out. They were doing a lot of deceptive tactics with Michael Jackson. Well, first of all, the term king of pop, do y'all know the Michael Jackson estate? They have that term trademarked. Michael Jackson's estate owns the term king of pop. See, Michael Jackson was making a lot of real chess moves out here that people don't even understand, family. And they've always kind of had a bug in their ass about Michael Jackson because they thought he was just going to be another little dumb performer, making all this money for the industry, and they'll ball off from his money and his earnings, and he'll be another destitute artist or whatever. They thought that they were going to play Michael, and Michael flipped the game on him back in the 80s. Michael understood the racism in the industry. He understood how there was an old boys club over here where the white supremacists will click up with each other to um, push black executives and power makers out of the game. He knew that they circled their wagons around here when it came to ownership and real power moves. So Michael Jackson did a deal directly with Sony, with the Asians over there in Japan, because you remember Sony, the headquarters is in Japan. Michael Jackson cut a deal directly with the Japanese heads of Sony, and they gave him a sweet deal. They gave him that great publishing deal where he owned damn near all the publishing of every damn artist out here, going all the way back to the 1950s. He was owning half of the Beatles catalog, Little Richard, just all of those people from back in the day. And in modern times too, all the people under that Sony umbrella, which is damn near what 80, 90% of the industry are under the Sony umbrella. With Columbia, Epic, all of that stuff is under Columbia. I mean, under Sony. I'm sorry. So Michael, they've always minimized that business deal Michael made. That was a savvy deal he made, and they've always misrepresented it. They've always undermined it. They've always downplayed it. That was a superpower move Michael made back in the day, and they've had a bug in their ass, and they were after that man ever since he made that deal. The minute he made that deal, all of a sudden these molestation charges start popping up all over the place. You dig? So they were going after our brother. And remember, Michael, he started calling out these racist executives by name. Remember, Michael Jackson went to Harlem. He was out there with Sharpton. He was like, Tommy Mottola ain't shit. And he was going on. Michael started going off on all of them. Michael started naming names. So they really didn't like that. See, most of y'all niggas in the industry are scared to do what Michael did. Michael went out there and started naming them top executives, saying they weren't shit, they were racist, they were evil. You know? And he was telling the truth about how slick they were. So they've been doing little dirty things to try to erase his contributions to the music industry. That little weak ass documentary that flopped that they threw out there that failed, where they got those dudes, those white men talking about Michael did this and that to him, and nobody believed it. So that failed. So they haven't really been able to sully Michael's image the way they wanted to. They tried to manipulate streaming stats by saying that it was the Eagles who now sold more records than Thriller. I want y'all to look that up. That was a thing a couple of years ago. You know, Thriller is the biggest selling album in recorded history. So what they tried to do recently, they tried to manipulate some Spotify numbers, some jive ass "I'm white and I say so" nonsense. They tried to pull, and they tried to say it was the Eagles' greatest hits, which is the biggest selling album. It topped Michael Jackson, which is horse crap. That's complete horse crap. But this thing where the industry tries to erase the accomplishments of black artists, that's something that needs to be talked about more. Going back to Michael Jackson, remember when Little Richard was calling the industry out in the 80s? Little Richard was calling the industry out big time in the 80s, for stealing his stuff and not paying him. They did not pay Little Richard. They robbed Little Richard, and they would take artist songs and give them to white artists. They would do Little Richard like that. They would give his songs to Elvis and Pat Boone, and they would not properly pay him. And in the 80s and early 90s, Little Richard was going around, going to all those award shows like, y'all ain't never gave me nothing. I'm the originator. Where's my money, Mike? Little Richard was half joking but half serious with it. And then he stopped doing that. Why did he stop doing that? Michael Jackson hooked him up. Michael Jackson shipped him up. Michael Jackson paid him, and Michael Jackson gave him some kind of publishing deal where he would just get money for life. So Little Richard was set because of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson took care of him. Michael Jackson took care of Sly Stone, from what I understand. So Michael Jackson was not only owning a lot of this publishing that was taken from these artists, he was giving the publishing back to these people. So yeah, they don't like that. They don't like stuff like that when we make power moves, and we have to stop being afraid to make power moves like that. Because as we see now in the industry, one thing that I don't like, and a lot of us are talking about, these artists like Fat Joe and others are running around, and Buster running around talking about how hip hop came from all of these other places, and we need more black artists who are FBA to say something about that and call that nonsense out. Why are y'all Negroes scared to call that out? Y'all better stop being afraid to check these people from trying to erase our history. We got to stop being afraid to do that. That has to be called out because what they're saying is not true. Again, the next documentary we're doing, right when we're done with this American Maroon documentary, which will be soon, we're going to go right into the documentary about the real origin of hip hop, the FBA origin of hip hop. We have to get that straight because there's a concerted effort to erase that part of our culture. See, this is all about cultural erasing. They're trying to erase our culture, and it's up to us to stand up to that and say, no, we're not going to play that game. You're not going to erase our culture. We're not going to do that. I saw a protest earlier. There was a protest out here where there was some immigration stuff going, and there were some sisters out there who were clearly FBA saying how immigration hurts us. And some of the people were using this argument, well, where did you come from? We all came from somewhere. Everybody here in the United States, we all came from somewhere. And the sister was like, well, I came from slavery. Well, where'd you come from before that? Everybody came from somewhere. Now, see, again, those type of arguments tries to make us FBA comparative to other groups. It tries to make us equivalent to immigrants. And I want people to be clear: foundational Black Americans are not the same as immigrants. We are not the same. We have a very unique lineage that has nothing to do with immigration. We did not immigrate from one place to a better place. We are the only group who built the nation from ground floor up. We built it from scratch. There was no United States until foundational Black Americans built it. No other group can make that claim. We did not flee from one place to a better place. We had to get down in the dirt, in the ground, and build this thing up from the bottom up, and no other group did that. White people didn't even do that. They couldn't do it. They didn't have the temerity to do that. They tried and they failed. And I don't give a damn if people say, well, y'all were forced to do it. Doesn't matter how or why. The reality is, we were doing it. We did it. Let's go back to Michael Jackson. I always use this analogy. Michael Jackson made the greatest album in recorded history. Now, you don't give Joe Jackson credit for that. Joe Jackson was the one making Michael rehearse and making Michael go to the studio and sometimes giving out ass whoopings. So somebody could say, well, it was Joe Jackson who should get credit. But no, you give Michael credit. The how and the why doesn't matter. The fact is, Michael's talent shined through and he created something that lasted throughout history. You see? Same thing with us. It's foundational Black Americans. We created something and built something that nobody did. That makes us very unique and that makes us very exceptional people. We got a lot of folks in here. A lot of folks in here already. Let me see what's on people's minds. Who is who are these people? Baby Goober mode. Hop on. Let me see what you're talking about. Got a lot of folks in here. What's up, Wani? I see you, dear. What's up, Teslin? I see you. What's up, Baby Goober? You want to turn your microphone
Hello,
on?
you there?
What's up, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
What's going on, man? What's wrong with your voice, man? You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm just old.
Oh, okay, okay. There you. How old are you?
I'm in my early 60s.
You in your early 60s and sounding like that? Are you sickly?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
I might have a cold.
You might. Okay, even a cold don't make a motherfucker sound like that, man. You sure you ain't got monkeypox or something? You all right?
No, I ain't doing nothing to get no monkeypox.
No, we don't know that. I don't know, sir. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I know that for sure, Tariq. Please don't accuse me of nothing like that sort. That's foul.
Well, you shouldn't.
But
If you're in your early, you shouldn't be sounding like this, dude. You sound very decrepit and infirmed, sounding like this at early 60s. You should not be sounding like this. I'm just saying you
that's
need to get a
that's
checkup.
that's just yeah, whatever. But
Just,
so
just get your prostate checked. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead.
yeah, I'll see what I can do. But Mr. Nasheed, I came here to tell you. So I work in the federal government, and I can't tell you much more than that. But I really like what you're doing with the FBA stuff, with
Hmm.
your your movement. But I'm telling you, from what I've seen, and again, I can't reveal too much. I can give you some specifics about some stuff the deep state got cooking up. But I think really the best shot you got at getting this FBA movement off the ground. You've been doing well with your films, with your other stuff, with your movement. But I think you really need to enter the realm of electoral politics.
Yeah, well, that's for. Thank you for the call. But yeah, that no, I'm not going to get into politics because again, these people would off me the first day I get elected. Because the problem is, I would actually get elected. That's the thing. If I went into politics, I would mess around and actually get elected somewhere. I would actually get elected, and the next day they would have somebody with a janky hairline and a rusty machine gun gunning me down somewhere in an Uber Eats car while they're in between orders. They'd get the first tether to gun me down. So no, I'm good. I am good. No, 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 no. I'm good. I'll be behind the scenes as far as that. And speaking of that, family, have y'all seen this stuff? Let me talk to some of the non-FBA folks on Clubhouse, and I really don't like the Clubhouse app, but boy, the tethers are on Clubhouse. Boy, they're talking about getting guns against foundational Black Americans because in like places like DC and New York, I think a couple of cab drivers and Uber drivers then got robbed. So now they're using that to justify their anti-FBA hatred. So they're all on the Clubhouse app. We need to get guns against those niggas, those hood ghetto niggas in the hood. Let's get our guns. We need to shoot those niggas. They're like talking about randomly killing us. I'm like, these people, man, we better keep our eye on some of these tethers because they're just using these random crimes to justify the hatred that they already had. And let's be clear, places like DC and New York, I think there was a Ghanaian taxi driver who got beat to death by some teenagers up there in New York, and most likely they were Caribbean, the teenagers. Most likely they were Caribbean. New York is full of Caribbeans. In New York, most likely the people doing the robbing up there are non-FBA. DC is full of non-FBA folks. So a lot of this is immigrant on immigrant crime. But that doesn't matter. They'll use that to justify their hatred of us. I'm just talking about the tether class. I'm not talking about all of them, but that tether class, they're some of the talk that they're doing is getting real dangerous. You dig? And we should be calling it out. Let's get Afro Elite in here. What's up, Afro Elite? And then we're gonna get Great Black Shark in here. Hop on, Afro Elite.
Tariq, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. What's on your mind,
I'm
sir?
good. I'm good. First off, I just want to say real quick, I agree with every single thing you said about Michael Jackson. In my opinion, and I think it's everybody's opinion, Michael Jackson is the greatest music artist to ever live, and I don't think there's ever going to be an equivalent to him whatsoever. But I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about the tether situation where they were talking about getting guns for Clubhouse, because I said in the beginning of the year, one of the things that I predict they're going to start doing is they're going to start fighting each other, and they're going to start doing the same thing the Asians did. They're going to start staging hate crimes and saying, you see, this is
Yeah.
really what FBA is about, and we got to start defending ourselves and protecting ourselves. So I'm sure the more we keep persisting and the more we keep striving for our own lineage, the more we'll see these conveniently caught on camera hate crimes and attacks and murders or whatever the case is, the same way they did with the Stop Asian Hate propaganda.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They've been trying to do that for a minute too. They've been trying to get that set up. You're going to see a lot of these staged events. There's going to be a lot of stage stuff, and they're going to be like, "See, look at the FBA, niggas. This is the FBA. This is what FBA means." It's going to be some of that. They're trying to get on some of that Asian hate crime stuff, and I talked about that a few months ago. They're trying to get like the Asians, and the Latinos are trying to do the same thing too. The Latinos are using situations where a couple of vendors out here in LA, they've been jumped and robbed. So they've been trying to get a hate crime bill against Black people out here too. So notice that theme. All of these different ethnic groups that we sit here like clowns fighting for to get over here. The minute they get here and anything happens to them, they try to get hate crime bills against us as a whole. You see? We should have been waking up to this stuff a long time ago, man, instead of being on some naive kumbaya nonsense. What's up, Great Black Shark, brother? Hop on.
Salute to you, black man. How's everything going?
I'm good, man. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, man. I want to speak to the topic of protecting our cultures, particularly with the music here that we see. We got like it seems like every 7 seconds there's a different group claiming that they created hip hop.
Oh
And
Lord.
see, one of the things that I want to see, man, is like when Sister Connie Collins had that protest out there. all of those rappers that were out there should have had their sisters back, man. Because see, here's the thing, man. If we don't protect our culture, man, we're going to lose it. And
Yeah.
see, if they had any respect for the art and what it means to our people, they would have been front and center with that sister. And if any of y'all are in here listening, the next time that you see that, as I said before, y'all gonna have to start getting behind the grassroots movement. Don't just sit there when you see us fighting for something that means the world to our people, and it's an important part of our culture. And the last thing I want to say about that situation there with these tellers, brothers and sisters, y'all better watch out, because a lot of these tellers, Caribbean and unfortunately continental Africans, some of them actually do help set FBA people up with groups like the Proud Boys. With
Yep.
that said, brother, I will end.
Thank you so much, man. Real talk. Real talk. Let's get who's this person? Let's get Trini Sound in. Trini Sound. Trini Sound, where you at? Let's get Trini Sound. All right, well, while we're waiting on Trini Sound, let's get Mariah. Mariah?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mariah.
Hi, Tariq. Thank you for inviting me up. I've been a supporter of you for many years, so it's cool to finally talk to you. So thank you for that. About the topic at hand, you're absolutely right. And the thing is, I think the title of the King of Pop is arguably too reductive. Michael is actually the King of Music, let alone the undisputed King of Pop. And what I find funny is the fact that these conversations are always, this person's the new king of pop, blah, blah, blah. But it's never something like, this person is the new king of rock and roll. And in the meantime, Michael...
Right. Great point. Great point.
And in the meantime, Michael actually owns the title of the king of pop. That's trademarked.
He does.
Just trademarked, I believe. And meanwhile, Elvis wouldn't be on the top 10 or top 100 list of rock and roll artists. So,
Real.
Yeah, it's very much given
Yes,
racism,
indeed.
trying to raise Mike was an artist, trying to raise just the impact that Michael had. It's just, and they've been trying to do that for a very long time, and they're still persistent in it. But
yes,
yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll let you play. But yeah, she made a great point. They don't do that with Elvis. They never do that with King of Rock and Roll. They never say, "Here's the new King of Rock and Roll. Here's the new King." They leave that to Elvis. They don't touch it. They don't get near it. They don't even interfere with that at all. They don't touch that at all. But every other decade, they got some. Well, who's the new King of Pop? Who's the new King of Pop? Trying to replace Michael Jackson's legacy. You see, we have to call that stuff out. Now, the brother who called up earlier, Great Black Shark, you were talking about our sister doing the protest over at Power 106 and none of the rappers co-signing it. No, they weren't going to co-sign it. And I talked to some, rappers who were really against it. A lot of rappers, out here, they didn't want to get in bad with Power 106 because they ultimately want their record played. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of these folks, when they put out music, they need their records played. So they're not going to rock the boat at all. That's the reality. A lot of these rappers out here, they're just not going to rock the boat in the industry that they're trying to get in. They get in these industries and they got to keep their mouths shut and they got to do what they're told. They give them these 360 deals and they own these niggas. So a lot of these dudes, we can't really look to them to really do what needs to be done. It has to be done on the grassroots. Once they sign those deals, I'm telling you, they own these dudes. They dangle their money and their careers in front of them. They got to make these niggas go out there wearing dresses. You understand? They got to go out here and do records with Lil Nas X. They got to do duets with him. They make these dudes push whatever agenda that's coming from the top. You see? So these dudes are at the mercy of the industry. And speaking of LGBT, what's up, T.S. Giselle? We got T.S. Giselle in here. What's up, T.S. Giselle? How are you? And what are you doing up this early?
I'm actually just wrapping up a couple of emails. I'm about to log off for the day. I just got out of a client meeting. Tyreek, I have to give you credit. I'm not coming to troll. You look good in your picture. I like the suit. I like the hair. the undershirt's a little long for me, but overall, you look good. Very dapper. So I have to give
All
credit when
right.
it's due. Um,
All right. All
and
I don't know what to say. I don't know whether to say thank you or be
you should
offended.
say
All right.
thank you. I'm a fashionista.
Now let me ask you a serious. Let me ask you, because we always go at. Let me ask you a serious question. Now, before you transitioned, had you ever been with a woman before?
Tyreek, the only time I've ever had some coochie is when I came out of one.
Okay,
Okay.
I just wanted to know that. All right.
The most that I can do, the most that I can do with a woman is we can bump coochies. That's about it. Okay.
You mean bump coochie and boochie, but no, it's just only one coochie in the mix. Coochie and boochie is not the same thing. All right.
I'll be really quick. I'll be really quick. 'Cause
All
like
right.
I said, I'm trying to wrap up work. But yeah, your picture looks
Right.
good. It does.
All right.
Shout out to all of my fans. T.S. Giselle, every girl's dream, every man's fantasy. On the
Yeah. Okay.
topic,
Okay. Every girl is not dreaming about having a wide back and balls. Okay. Girls do not dream that. That's the last thing a girl dreams about is a big back and balls. So anyway, let me get some other folks in here. Okay. Lord. Okay. Let's get KJ. KJ, hop in, brother.
Hi, Tariq. It's a pleasure talking to you and salute to you. And I truly appreciate you and thank you for all the knowledge that you're spreading. Um, two things I just want to say really quick, or ask actually. One question I want to ask is about the slave ships. So there's no pictures of um, people on slave ships that are copper. You know, I only seen photos of white people on slave ships. So I wanted to understand what that was about. Then also I wanted to touch on the Michael Jackson thing that you said. I truly agree with you on all topics of that. But I
Right.
also wanted to ask you, I thought that the pressure started before that with Michael Jackson as far as Left Eye. I thought once she exposed that Dr. Sebi was healing him and some other artists, I thought that was the start of his demise. Maybe I'm wrong. And also the last thing I wanted to know, how can we get the rappers, because I see Lil Wayne is on here listening. I want to know how we can get them to change their narrative and their music, especially since they're coming after them with RICO charges. So, but that's it. I truly appreciate you and salute you.
All right.
And thank you again.
Thank you so much, beloved. Okay. She asked so many questions. I know it was, there were so many questions. She just threw a bunch of stuff out there. Well, the stuff was going on with Michael way before the Left Eye stuff. That, they started with Michael right when he started getting that deal going with Sony. When he started getting that deal going with Sony, that's when they just jumped out the window with him and turned on him. This is late 80s, early 90s. So, they've been, doing the whole wacko jackal thing against our brother ever since then, when he started making those power moves. You dig? But anyway, let me get some more calls. And then the sister was saying some stuff about the slave ships, and that sounds like some lame Helligate stuff. That sounds like some correction status lame Helligate. That one, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. Let me see. We got a few people in here. Let's get Minister Stip in here. All right, let's get Minister Stip in here. Minister Stip, hop on, sir. Minister Stip.
Hello, Mr. Tariq. What's going on?
I'm good, man.
Cool, man. I wanted to talk about the topic. I'm an MJ advocate, and you're right. MJ is the original king of pop. Nobody can steal his title. His crown belongs to him and nobody else. And they also the white supremacists wanted to give the title to Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake, and they're racist. Justin Bieber had a song saying, "Hey, one less lonely N-word," and Justin Timberlake embarrassed his sister at a Super Bowl. And I also wanted to say, don't let anybody call Michael anything. He's the OG. He even has speeches in 2001 with Al Sharpton. He talked about the white supremacists in the music industry, how they were stealing from, songwriters who wrote for Elvis Presley. They didn't get their credit. And it's absolutely ridiculous. He was calling out the white supremacists in the music industry. That's when they got angry. And then they came up with all kinds of false allegations, accusing him of all kinds of stuff. So Michael is the OG. He was too powerful.
Yes,
They wanted to take him down. That's what it is. I'll land my plane.
Yeah, thank you so much. Real talk. Yeah, Michael, man, Michael was smarter than a lot of us are led to believe, man. They try to make it seem like Michael was just some cat sitting around bleaching himself. No, Michael was a rider. Michael was a rider, did a lot for black folks, understood his history. Michael was a for real rider. Let's get Tommy in here. Tommy, hop on. Where you at, Tommy? Tommy, turn your microphone on, sir.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. There you go.
My bad. I didn't mean to. Tariq, bro, I'm saying this is somebody that started watching your video, Hidden Colors, at like 17. Like, bro, niggas don't understand, bro. They've been anything that we do as black people, we made, they copy it. It's literally in their DNA to copy us. But like, please explain to niggas that like they have to copy us. They have to demean us just to survive. Because when I tell niggas, I'm like even from like Greek shit, like Bobby Hemmett type shit, like bro, they've always copied us. They've always had to demean us because they can't keep up with us. But like you, somebody that's in the industry, please explain to niggas on a genetic level like how real this shit is for them to like they have to copy us. And I'm gonna land right there.
There you go. Yeah, man. Look, we are the culture. And they know that. We are the culture. They copy and emulate everything we do and then try to erase us from what they've copied from us. They've always done that. They've always done that. We've always been the innovators and the originators of so many different things. And people have to come in and piggyback off of it and copy it. This is why we have to lay claim and gatekeep our culture because we've given so much of our culture away. And that's why I'm so offended by the whole Latinos and blacks started hip hop together. I want y'all to understand, man, that's a play on the whole black and brown myth that we promote. We're the only ones who promote that. Latino organizations don't promote no black and brown, dude. They don't promote none of that, and they've not done anything for black people. They only claim black and brown when it's something that they can benefit from. And they can benefit from appropriating our culture by claiming that they were the originators of it, which they were not. And a brother was telling me he was at UC Cal State, one of these schools out here. They were teaching some hip hop classes, and one of the professors, who's Belizean, a black Belizean person, was pushing this Latinos help start hip hop and black folks. And the dude was in class challenging him, and he asked him, you know, who are these Latinos you're talking about? And they couldn't give an answer. They can never give an answer. When you ask them, who are these Latinos? Who are these mythological Latinos y'all keep talking about? Who were around in the early 70s? Who created? I ain't talking about somebody who just copied what the black folks did, like Crazy Legs and all those dudes in the 80s. Because when you talk about Latinos in hip hop, they get to naming Crazy Legs and the Rocksteady Crew, which was an 80s breakdance crew. They came damn near a decade after hip hop was created. You understand? Name these Latinos. Name these Puerto Ricans and Latinos who created something. And where did they get it from? You understand? What in Puerto Rican culture did they draw their inspiration from? I can show you the original B-boys in the early 70s, Trixie, A1 B-Boy Sosa, the Twins, original Clark Kent. We can show you the FBA B-boys who were around in the early 70s. And we can show you the people who were FBA who inspired them to do their moves. Peg Leg Bates, Little Buck, dancers from the 40s, 50s, and 60s who they used to watch on these variety shows doing floor work. I can show you black FBA dancers from the 40s and 50s doing stuff that looks like the moonwalk. There's videos of black folks in the 1800s in the first video pixels that they would create from the Edison Company, where they're dancing in the 1890s doing a form of breakdancing. We can show you the FBA inspiration who inspired the B-boys in the 70s. Where are the Puerto Ricans? Show me the damn Puerto Ricans. Show them. See, we're going to have to get people to show and prove, not just say some shit and then run and then start babbling when we are demanding proof. You see, this is why we got to get some straightening going on with this stuff here, because we're not allowed to go in and start claiming other people's culture. They don't allow that, and we should stop allowing that. We should stop allowing that. Let me get some more folks in here. Let's get Woo Def in here. Let's get Woo Def. What's up, Woo Def? A lot of folks in here. All right, Woo Def, hop on, brother. Y'all better get this microphone game in order. All right, let's get hold on. There you go, Woo Def. You got it together, brother? All right, I got to get you out of here, brother. All right, y'all raise your hand when y'all get it together. Y'all got to have your phone games in order. Let's get Baby Moore. Let's get Baby Moore in here. Baby Moore. Just turn your microphone on, Baby Moore. You're raising your hand like you were ready.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. How are
Hey,
you?
what's up, Tariq? Yeah, I wanted to touch on a few things. Yeah, as far as Eminem, you got a lot of like legends that you said other like hip hop artists are off code, but a lot of people we would call legends are off code too. They're just giving it up for Eminem, even after he had disrespected black women, like a full like white card carrying white supremacist. Called them like nigger bitches and all that, and good old, they just sluts who only want money, and I want a good white girl. So they forgive him and they just let him all in hip hop like nothing. He also disrespected Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson bought his whole catalog, so he bossed up on his ass. And as far as hip hop, I wanted to say, like the Puerto Ricans and stuff, all they ever say is, "Oh, we were there," like it was some event that where black people were the beneficiary of, and they were the beneficiary of. Like, no, we created it. They were around us. They treat us like
Right.
they treat us like we're this TV that they can turn off when the street lights come on and they go home to their culture. We don't have our culture when we go home. We're just this TV station that they could just turn off and turn on. So, no, we got our culture in the black home. When we go home, that's away from them, and that's where hip hop's created. It's a black culture.
Yes, indeed.
This big, like a Big Bang event or something like that, where everybody just witnessed the fireworks or something. Nah, it starts from us. Let me land my plane. That's it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, man. This whole thing where they are like, well, yeah, us Puerto Ricans, we were there. We were in the Bronx. See, they want credit for just being in the Bronx at the same time. There's this real weak correlation where they're reaching for connection. They literally want credit for just happening. You just happen to be in the Bronx in the 70s. That don't mean you created anything. And even according to the early B-boys, they weren't going to the B-boy parties. It was only one or two, according to almost all the people who were there. It wasn't not only was it not a bunch of Puerto Ricans going, the Puerto Ricans were actually hating on the hip hop culture at the time. They were hating on it. You do not get any credit for anything as far as hip hop. None. And y'all have to stop being afraid to tell them. You do not get no credit. Y'all didn't create any element of no damn hip hop. Not one single element. Nor did the Caribbeans. Oh yeah. Them too. Nor did the Caribbeans. Any Caribbeans in here? Because we can get some straightening here today too. No Caribbeans contributed to hip hop. Kool Herc, he didn't bring anything Caribbean with him. He had to drop all of his Caribbean culture and pick up FBA culture in order to promote hip hop. Kool Herc got hip hop from here and he promoted it and his parties got big. And then his name became synonymous with it. But he picked up on foundational Black American culture. He came over, he was doing graffiti, which was created by a foundational Black American out of Philadelphia. They were playing break beats. He was playing James Brown and all that, which other DJs were playing in the Bronx. Other DJs were playing break beats. Kool Herc was not the only one playing break beats at that time. Other DJs were playing break beats. You dig? We got to get all of this history straight. He didn't bring anything from the Caribbean over here that people utilize. He couldn't play Caribbean records according to him. And I'm not saying this to denigrate Kool Herc, because his place in history is a great place because he had legendary parties which helped codify the culture. But even Kool Herc said he did not play Caribbean music. Why? We didn't like it over here, which is true. We were jamming to funk. We didn't want to hear that slow shit. It was cool, but we were funking it up. We had James Brown and BT Express. We had all of these funk bands, Ohio players. We're trying to groove. He couldn't play Caribbean music. So that just destroys that whole lie that they brought Caribbean toasting over here and we got rapping from some goddamn toasting. That's a crock of horse shit that we should have dissipated that lie a long time ago. We got to stop all of these lies, man, and do some correcting here. Let's get Lawrence the Creator. We're going to get Lawrence the Creator in here. What's up, Lawrence the Creator?
What's up, Tariq, man? How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I wanted to speak to the title because I always get offended when people are trying to take credit for our stuff.
Yes.
I tell people I will gladly become a Pan-Africanist if you can show me a Michael Jackson equivalent, Whitney Houston, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, anywhere in the world or in the diaspora on their homeland. I will sign up tomorrow. You can't,
Yeah.
because it does not exist. You can't take claim for hip hop even today. If I go land right now in the damn Caribbean and you guys are eating jollof or curry goat, whatever the hell it is, and doing what y'all culture is. So just that alone proves that this is what's native to only Black Americans. Celebrated,
Yes.
respected, but no, this is not a part of y'all's culture. You got Black babies at them 3 years old, them dancing like you ain't never seen before, playing drums at 4, singing and choir, stuff that is just built in us, and that's not built nowhere else. As a musician and a teacher, I've dealt with these people, and they don't have it. So I just want to land on that. Thanks for the talk, brother.
Thank you so much. And you made a great point, brother. We hear this narrative because people got this thing where they just don't want to give foundational Black Americans their credit. There's always this thing where you're never supposed to give us credit for any damn thing. Anything that we accomplish, we're supposed to allow other groups to share it, or we have to attribute it to Africa. We can never say, hey, this is something that we did, we created. We have to give it up to all minorities, or we have to attribute it to Africa. So a lot of the narratives now that we see with them trying to negate the foundation of Black American influence on all of the music genres, they'll say, well, you know what? All the music, hip hop and R&B and jazz is all African. It all comes from Africa. If you go back to Africa, you see blah, 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 blah. You don't see nothing. Let's stop all that. Yeah, if we go back to ancient times, we'll find a drum or whatever. Yeah. That's very vague and that's a reach. If that were the case, why are there, like my brother just made a great point, where is the African Michael Jackson? Where's the African Whitney Houston? Where's the African Nas? You see, where's the African Rakim? And I'm not saying this to denigrate my African brothers and sisters. We're paying homage to our own culture. We're not trying to denigrate you. We want you to be great, but what we're not going to do, everything we do that's significant or great, we have to, by default, attribute it to African culture and take it away from ourselves. We can't do that because it's just not reality. This is stuff that we created over here based on our circumstances. We had a very unique experience. We had very unique circumstances here, and out of those circumstances comes different cultures And we have a very unique culture that don't nobody else have, that we're giving credit to foundational Black Americans to. And see, when we do that, everybody wants to cry foul. Oh, you niggas, that's so xenophobic. We're xenophobic for owning our culture. Stop that. Y'all better stop that narrative. You see, and if some of y'all brothers and sisters from the diaspora who are over here, y'all need to start checking your tethers and your coons, because all of this stuff where they're talking about getting guns against us, y'all better check these little old ashy niggas before some shit really goes sideways. Y'all really need to holler at them. They don't want to go that route. They don't want to go that route. I'm not about to get my ass whooped by no big forehead Captain Phillips ass nigga. Um, I'm just not. No. Y'all better talk to them. Talk to these little old dudes, because they getting on Clubhouse pumping each other up, and they're gonna run up on the wrong FBA, and thing is going. Somebody's gonna knock the flies off of them. So they need to chill out with all of that talk. They really need to chill with that stuff, because we don't want to start talking about crime stats and all. We're going to go there because what's happening, a couple of crimes have happened to these folks in DC and New York or whatever, most likely from other immigrants, to be honest. Most likely these are other immigrants doing this, but they're trying to use that as an excuse. Oh, look at what these FBA niggas are doing to us, these Black Americans, these hood niggas. No, don't go there. We're not going to start talking about crime, because a lot of these crimes that happens in those cities in the East Coast, these are non-FBAs doing these crimes, and usually they're doing them to FBAs. If y'all want to play that game, let's point all this shit out. Let's point out all the scams and the crimes. Hell, you know, there was a diplomat. There's a story today. Let me see if I could retweet this story. I just tweeted this earlier. There's a damn Sudanese diplomat. This dude was accused of raping a woman. He raped her twice, allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly. This dude was a UN diplomat accused of raping a woman. He raped her twice, according to her. And then they arrested the dude, and they had to let him go because he's a diplomat. He has diplomatic immunity. So this dude knew that. He knew his diplomatic immunity status would help him out. See, if we're gonna talk about crime, let's talk about all of it. Yeah, this happened. This is today. This story came out today. Let me put that in the jumbotron. Y'all don't really want to start going into them crime stats. Right here, this dude right here. You see, and what happens is this dude, who's a damn UN diplomat, goes out here and does this heinous crime, and then he gets to leave, and then all of a sudden, that stigma is stuck on us. Then all of a sudden, it's just, look at what these Black folks are doing. This becomes a Black crime while this nigga gets to go home and bounce. And then we have to live with this damn dirty ass stigma that we didn't have anything to do with. So let's not play that game, because we'll start pointing every damn thing out. You see what I'm saying? We don't want to play that game. Anyway, there's a lot of folks in here, man. I want to get off here, but there's a lot of people in here, so I guess y'all really want to chop it up. I'll take a couple of more calls in here, since there's so many folks in here. Damn, they got 1,500 people in here. What's up, Deetra? Look at you, Deetra. Let me get Deetra on here. Deetra's up here, standing up here in her little nightgown. Was that your nightie or something? What are you doing, Deetra?
Hello.
Hop on, Deetra. Hey, Deetra, how are you,
Hey,
dear?
Tariq. I'm so excited. I always wanted to speak to you. I just wanted to let you know that you opened my eyes so much with your Hidden Color movies, and it was so much stuff that I didn't know. But anyways, I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying about them not wanting to give us credit for our music. I was just watching a clip of Stephanie Mills, and she was saying how R&B, like, they took over that and they don't want it from us, and they kind of want it from white people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and she was saying how they don't really respect us and stuff like that, and that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, good point, sis. And I saw Stephanie Mills in concert a few months ago. Phenomenal. Stephanie's like, what, 65, still looks good, still great performer. But yeah, there's a discussion about what happened to R&B. Puff Daddy was talking about that, what happened to modern R&B. R&B is different now. Now, what's different about R&B? R&B is different now. Look at the music industry. Let's keep it a buck. You know what's different? They got a lot of non-FBA folks out here doing R&B now, and the soul ain't there. That's what the hell the problem is. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. If you look at the charts, most of the people on the charts now who's doing so-called R&B, these are non-FBA people. So that soul ain't there. The soul ain't there. The root ain't there. You understand? Who do we have? Rihanna, and I like Rihanna. Rihanna, the soul ain't there. When I was in Hawaii recently, I mean, literally every other song on the R&B station was Doja Cat, who's not FBA. And not only is she not FBA, that Doja Cat chick has said some real slick shit about black people. Y'all look that up. She was in, there was some controversy with her in one of these little racist chat rooms, Kakan and Kikiing with white supremacists talking greasy about black folks. That's who's on the charts right now. These people don't have the soul. They don't have that FBA gospel ground where they've been in a church and heard some real FBA singing. You don't have that. You got these people who come from all these other places, and that soul ain't there. The soul of the music ain't there. So there's this poppy type of thing. Who else? What's the guy up in the Canadian dude? Not Drake. Drake is, but the Weeknd guy. That's his name? The Weeknd. What's that guy's name? Ain't he from Canada? The soul ain't there. You see? You got these non-FBA people who didn't grow up in a soul gospel environment, and they're not singing from their diaphragm. You don't feel these people. You just don't feel them. That's what it is. And I think that's deliberate. I think that's very deliberate. They want to take the power of the industry out of our hands. Because see, what we would do, black folks, foundational black Americans, we would know our worth, because what we would do, our black artists understood the power of the grassroots. They would have a grassroots following, and then ultimately they would want to control their masters. Going back to the Sam Cookes, one of the most respected and most loved soul singers, Sam Cooke was starting to make power moves. He understood his worth. He understood that he was a great singer, a soulful singer. He had the black grassroots backing him up. He had crossover records, and he said, hey, you know what? I can control my music better than these white people can control my music. So he wanted to form his own label, which he did form his own label. And he was working with people like Muhammad Ali, and he was a very well-respected brother on the grassroots. And they were warning him about starting his label. They were warning him. They were saying, hey, you don't want to do that. The white mafia, they were going after him. And then ultimately he got killed in a very suspicious situation down there in LA. You see? So a lot of the FBA artists, they understood the power of ownership. Our sister Sylvia Robinson with Sugar Hill Records, she was an R&B singer. Her husband, Joey Robinson. Joey was a gangster. Joey Robinson was a gangster out of New York, and they would click in with Mo Levy and some of these other mafia folks who they were dealing with, and that's how they got the money for Sugar Hill Records. Y'all look up the background of Sugar Hill Records. It's a very interesting background. That's why you never hear about any artists running up to Sugar Hill Records on some rah-rah shit. They'll talk about how they didn't get their money, that happened, whatever, but you never hear stories about them trying to run up in the damn studio or run up in Sugar Hill Records on some, hey, where's my money, on some, no. You never hear that, because them people at Sugar Hill was some gangsters for real, for real. These were some FBA gangsters. You understand? And all through the 80s, you had Ruthless Records, our good brother Easy. He understood his worth, got his thing popping. Suge, we got to give Suge Knight credit with Death Row Records. Puffy, we'll give him credit with what he did with the industry. So many FBA artists, and Michael Jackson, going back to Michael Jackson, going to Prince. Prince understood his worth, and Prince started to control his catalog. That's another person we underestimate, Prince. Artists like that, foundational Black American artists, coming from the foundational Black American lineage, our artists understood the power of ownership. You see, we understood if we selling these records sooner or later, we're going to say we don't really need the record label like we think we need them. We're going to get our own thing going on so we can control our own catalog. So the industry don't like Black folks thinking like that. They don't like folks thinking like that. They want niggas who are just happy to be there, so they can get all your publishing and all that stuff. They'll write a couple of songs for you. You just be the performer. You let the record label control all of the publishing. But we'll make you a star. We'll give you all the cocaine you need, and we'll put you on TV, and everybody will know you. But we're going to control your publishing. We're going to control your writing. See, that's the situation they want. And a lot of FBA artists, they start asking questions, especially when they hit certain record numbers. You see, and they'll start using their grassroots leverage. Like Prince, our brother Prince didn't have to have a hit record on the charts. Prince could tour nonstop year after year for the rest of his life, and that's exactly what he did until he died. And before he died, he got his masters back. He got that deal with Warner Brothers Records. He fought them for 20-something years, got his masters back, and bam, right after he did that, he mysteriously died, but that's another story. Let me get my brother Mikhail in here. Hop in, brother. Let me get you on here. Hop in, sir. That's my good brother here. Waiting for your microphone to come on, sir.
How's the great minister?
My man.
How's the great minister of code doing? Looking pretty crisp in your suit.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to be like you.
Oh, no. Why you want to downgrade? You're the sun. I'm just the moon. I just want to build on where you at. A person who's often overlooked in the industry, and she really changed the game, is my sister, Lauryn Hill. Right?
Yes.
And she epitomizes defiance and strength. And really set the blueprint for Chappelle, Mos, Q-Tip, et cetera, with regard to doing whatever they want to do. And most people don't know, when she got in tax trouble, it was Prince who quietly came up with the money to make sure that she can keep doing her thing. So I'll land with that. Be well, great one.
Wow. Thank you, brother. Now that I didn't know. I do know Prince did a lot of good stuff behind the scenes. Prince, because Prince, for a long time, Prince wouldn't let people sample his stuff. Prince was, he gatekept his music big time. He didn't, just let anybody sample and stuff like that. That's why you don't hear too many Prince samples, or the time, and all of that stuff is under Prince. But what they did do, because Prince liked DJ Quick, Prince really was a fan of DJ Quick's production. Prince let DJ Quick and those guys sample 777-9311 for Tupac's album. That's how they got that clear. They got it cleared through Quick. Prince like Quick. And Prince, and people already know this, Prince was a huge fan of My Hidden Colors films, because Prince was big on Black ownership. Prince would not work with folks if you were a Black person who didn't own your stuff. Prince, holler at me when you own your stuff. That's why you didn't hear a lot of Prince collaborations with folks. Prince would ask people, and they said this, the first thing Prince would ask, do you own your masters? Do you own your stuff? Well, no, I go through this. Well, no, holler at me when you own your stuff, then we can do some business. I remember the Africa Channel. That was an independent Black channel out here. Prince was working with them to promote his concerts. When I went to his concert out here, he had Africa Channel banners all over the place. Prince, he was all about Black folks owning some shit. If you own something as a Black person, Prince rock with you. Prince promoted that. Anything independent, Black owned, Prince would rock with that. Prince promoted my movies to a lot of people. The Hidden Color series, Prince was a big fan of that. There's footage of Prince's house, because I hate what they did with our brother, because he was very private. He didn't want folks all up in Paisley Park. And there's like footage of, people going in Paisley Park, rummaging all through the vaults and filming stuff. And in some of that footage, you could see a bunch of Hidden Colors DVDs at Paisley Park. Yeah. So Prince was a rider. He knew what was up. He knew what the game was. Real thorough brother. Let me get my brother Sir Major in here. Let's get brother Sir Major in the building. What's going on, Sir Major?
What's up, dear brother, man? First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the space. Love the conversation. I want to kind of touch a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit on you were talking about immigrants and crime. That's something I've
Yeah.
done a lot of spaces on. Immigrants love boasting, being from a different country. They love repping their flag, but they don't like owning their crime. They love talking about Chicago and everything else. But what they fail to mention, Brother Tariq, is that when they come to America, they come sometimes bringing their barbaric acts here, such as their
Yeah.
FGM, such as their gangs, right? In Minnesota, there are 5 notorious gangs on the FBI terrorist watch list. These are 5 Somali gangs: the Somali Hot Boys, the Somali Outlaws, the 1927 Boys. So the Somali Mafia. They're doing a lot of crime in Somalia, in Columbus, Ohio, Seattle, Washington, and different parts of the United States. They don't want to own their shit. But when they do get, now they love the accolades. They love being mentioned and named for their success. But then when it comes
Yeah.
to their criminalistic ways, they want to put that down on black folks. So, for example, when they go
Right.
to jails and go to prisons, they go to jail underneath the name black. They don't want to delineate then. So we got to start paying attention to these crime statistics. A lot of the times they double down on our crime statistic numbers, which looks like there's an influx of crime in the black community. I'll yield there.
Yep. And thank you so much. Yeah, I've been telling y'all that, man. They all become black when it's a crime. When it's a crime, they become black. And another thing, too, where they don't delineate when it comes to diseases. And I talked about this for many years. And boy, the Tethers got mad because I pointed this out. When they start talking about increases in AIDS and all of that in the black community, these increases were coming from immigrant classes. Again, they don't delineate when it comes to immigrants and AIDS stats. When they come over here from these countries, they're laying up with Zaddy and with diseases and all of this stuff. It just gets written down as black folks have a high rise in AIDS and nobody knows where it comes from. And they're trying to figure out where all these black folks with AIDS coming from. Then they start talking about some down low niggas. That's where that whole down low lie came from, where the myth was because it was a bunch of women getting AIDS. And they couldn't really account for that. How come so many women all these black women getting AIDS? And everybody's looking around like, huh? Who are these black women with AIDS? And the black men weren't getting it. See, the black men were not getting AIDS. It was just a high rise of black women getting AIDS, and especially in many of these East Coast cities where there's a lot of immigrants, and they never pointed that correlation out. So instead of pointing out, a lot of these people are immigrating over here from other places, bringing diseases with them, or laying up with these damn zaddies, like that white man up there, the Sperminator in New York. Remember, I kept talking about him? That is a white man up there in New York that these immigrants would go to so they could have anchor babies. So he would get them and take them in bathrooms and have sex with them. And he has babies by dozens and dozens of immigrant women. They call this white man the Sperminator. He's known throughout the immigrant. Y'all Google what I'm saying. I've been talking about this man for years. You think that man ain't got nothing and he ain't giving nothing to folks? You know what I'm saying? That's just somebody who's known. But a lot of these folks come over from other places finding white zaddies to have anchor babies with, and then they get all types of damn diseases, and it gets chopped up to black AIDS rates are high. So they don't differentiate between black and immigrant groups. So instead of showing that correlation, that a lot of these immigrant women are coming over getting AIDS from white men, because a lot of white men have AIDS. We talked about that in the Buck Breaking and in the Hidden Colors movies. Remember, in the 80s, white men were the face of AIDS. And then right in the 90s, that changed. That did a complete 360. They made black people the face of AIDS in the 90s with Magic and Easy and all of these people. Then you stop hearing about white people with AIDS. In the 80s, white people were dying left and right with AIDS, and then in the 90s, you stopped hearing about it. Then all of a sudden, these white people who were clearly LGBT, they kept saying that they were dying for something else. It was something else they were dying from. Even with Liberace, they didn't want to say that he was dying, he died of AIDS. They tried to say it was some kind of weird, it was some type of technical disease that they tried to say. They were trying, because AIDS had a stigma. So when Liberace died, they tried to say it was something else, and then the doctor came out like, no, it was AIDS. Yeah, it was AIDS. Yeah, whatever they said, yeah, it was AIDS. That shit that they said, it was triggered by AIDS. So they've been trying to, when white folks die, they throw some other random weird disease out there. Even when George Michael, he died, they threw some kind of random weird disease out there. But a lot of people suspected it was AIDS. You never hear white people dying of AIDS no more, do you? Never. You never hear them dying of AIDS. They have to say it's something else because AIDS has a stigma now. You see? So these mammies and bedwench tethers who come over zaddy worshiping, they'll lay up with any zaddy they can find. They go find these white zaddies, and these zaddies be giving them all types of diseases and all of the monkeypox now. Where you think that comes from? And then that gets chopped up to black folks. Even with the monkeypox thing, they're trying to make black folks the face of monkeypox now. Yeah? They're trying to make black people the face of that now. You see? So this is why people have a problem when we say, hey, we want to kind of differentiate ourselves as far as, some of this negative stuff. We don't want all the negative stuff dumped on just us as black folks. This one big pot of blackness. So when we start talking about foundational Black American, what are we doing and what's affecting us? See, now we're cleaning the dishes right now. A lot of folks don't like that. They want the dishes to be dirty because they want to use us as their trash receptacles. And we're saying you cannot use us as your trash cans no more. You have to hold on to all your dirt. All of these groups were perfectly fine with this little tacky relationship that we have where all of the positive things they get to claim as their own and we can't touch it. So if they go get a PhD, well, that's a Nigerian American. Akadas had nothing to do with that. We can't bask in none of their successes. But the minute they come over here and get monkeypox, well, damn it, look, black folks are getting monkeypox. We got to do something, black folks. Black folks and monkeypox. No, you own your damn monkeypox too. Own your monkeypox. Ugandan American has monkeypox. Own that. Don't dump none of that on us. I don't want nobody's garbage. I don't want nobody's crime. Everybody hold their own damn nuts. Let's do that. Let's keep that same energy across the board. That ain't xenophobic. That's called keeping the same energy. If you want to get props and credit for doing something positive, get props and credit for the negative too. We'll hold our nuts, you hold yours. Anyway, y'all, let me get up out of here. That's been today's broadcast, man. I thank everybody for tuning in. Y'all go get my book, man. Foundational Black American Race Baiter, officialfba.com. That's the website, ladies and gentlemen. Officialfba.com. Anyway, man, y'all have a great afternoon, family. Pupi Akute and Lula Vuve to you.